Oh, hey. So this is the Q&A. I got a lot of questions. I finally have time to film. So what I'm gonna do, I feel so bad. My Hoya props that are in perlite have been like extremely neglected. I have some outer, oh my God. I'm kind of embarrassed to show this, but we're just gonna do it. Hoya Polyneura Broguette, Hoya Polyneura outer variegated. Oh my gosh, it's so dry. I'm not even joking. I'll show a few while I answer the questions, but they need to be watered. There's some strawberry shakes in here as well that are dry. Oh my God, everyone has been neglected. I am planning to do a neglect video. I don't know when. Sometime next week because there are just so many. There's so many. But I thought I'd give you a sneak peek of some plants that have been neglected. Okay, I am gonna start off with the most asked question. And I thought everyone knew this already, but I think because I got more of a following after I did like a month of doing reels on Instagram and I asked the question on Instagram, I think that's why I got this question. But the most asked question was, what is your job? What do you do for a living? Do you work at a clinic? Like it was like all of those. So for y'all that are new here, hi, first of all, but also I am a registered nurse. I worked full-time until September 2022. And then I decided to do this plant thing full time. I'm still at the hospital when they need me, so just to cover vacation, so I'm just in a casual role, and it's an outpatient clinic. I did bedside for the first couple years of my nursing career, did not like it at all, and yeah, now I work at an outpatient clinic, so that's what I do now, but just casually. Okay, see these Q&As, you focus too much on answering the question and talking that you forget that you need to do like plant stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try to focus. Oh, look at how dead the strawberry shake looks. It is so dry. Do you hear it? Crispiness. This root looks great though. That looks good. Oh yeah, and I'm just adding plain water. I'm not adding nutrient solution just because I don't have any. At this point, I think I would add nutrient solution just because these cuttings are pretty mature. Okay, the second question. Oh my God, this was a pretty one, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, look how dead. Look at how the color is gone. This is, wow, this is so light. Okay, the second most asked question was about my boyfriend. There were questions about like, will he be making an appearance ever? Will we ever meet him? You know, my boyfriend is a very, very private person. And so again, he didn't ask to like be put on camera. I'm not gonna force him. I will respect him and his decision. So I'm gonna say probably not. And I know a lot of people really want to meet him and see him, but probably not gonna happen. And then I think the third most asked question was, when am I gonna start selling plants? I know initially the plan was to sell plants now, but the thing is, I never really want to sell plants on a large scale. Obviously, this is just me talking now, and like, who knows what's gonna happen in the future. I kind of felt pressured to sell plants. You know, it kind of paired with my love of propagating plants. That is like one of my most favorite things to do with plants. Propagating them, watching them grow. And obviously those propagations had to go somewhere, so felt kind of pressured. A lot of people asked about it. I have sold and traded with a couple people, Marnie and Simone, hey y'all. And the only reason why I did that was because they've supported me on Patreon. So if y'all don't know, I have a Patreon, and they live in the greater Toronto area, I guess. So they were able to like meet up and like trade or pick up a plant. The shipping aspect, I don't think people understand that like there's a lot of money when it comes to shipping. Obviously, like I hate thinking this way, but Hakuna La Planta is kind of a brand now. And I don't wanna just give you half-ass packaging. So like, buying packaging, that's a cost. Priority shipping, that's a cost. And then just absorbing costs when like plants don't arrive. Like it's just like not something that I wanna do right now. But again, if you're in the greater Toronto area and you're willing to come downtown to pick up a plant, first of all, support me on Patreon. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay guys, let me just finish the spin and then I'm gonna look at the next question is. Okay, next behind me, future Kevin zoom in. So I'm focusing on all the props in these bins here. They're under grow lights for 14 hours. And yeah, it's been a while. The tendrils are out of control. They're out of control. Okay, this one's a good one. Oh, y'all, do you see this? The insularis They won't let go. Can you let go? Okay, Crassipetulates, Gunningatting, Nova Ghosts. I think that's it. Oh, the Nova Ghost. Okay, we gotta open with it. Gotta open with it. You're doing so well. Are you kidding? Look at this. I don't know what y'all can see. The perlite is dropping. Look at this. You know, all of these are dry. The polynuras were worse. I usually follow a schedule when it comes to these props where weekly I fill a little bit and like kind of gauge based on like each individual cup. It's been, I think, 2.5 weeks since I did it. And that kind of shows you that the polynura is a thirsty plant. Like it really, really is. Wow, this one is so pretty. It's not a gray ghost, it's a Nova Ghost. Okay, everything's dropping. Let's just continue. Why haven't you bought a Spiritus yet? Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, it's on my wish list. I don't know if y'all can see me. I feel like I'm a floating head, but 2 reasons. Cost, I know it's cheaper, and also room. I have done a better job trying to organize, limit my plant purchases, and so that, and I guess a third reason, why buy a new plant when I'm kind of behind with the care with all the rest of the plants? Like I should focus on the ones I have. There are a few plants on my wish list that like, if they're at a good price that I would get, one being the silver Hoya serpens. That one, seriously, look at this. Oh my gosh. This, I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna look down because it's focusing on me. Do you see this Nova Ghost? So this is the third one. There's something about silver Hoyas or splashy Hoyas. It's just everything. Okay. Why do you love... Oh my god, I'm gonna read it. I don't care. Why do you love big, veiny Hoya so much? You know what, Kyle? It reminded me of like an ex-boyfriend. Have you ever imported plants? The answer is no. I generally like supporting locally. Will I ever do it? Maybe, but like it's just a hassle in Canada, I find. Who's gonna win RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 8. Okay, so this has completed already, but I was always Team Jimbo. Jimbo won. Our Canadian girl, yes ma'am. I was a big like Jessica Wilde fan, like she was cute. And okay, ooh, Hoya species Gunningatting. This new leaf over here, it is outstanding. So it has a tendril right now. I'm just gonna take a clip and put it in and just clamp it down. What are your favorite common houseplants? So currently, at the time of filming, I'm gonna say that the ZZ Raven is now a common plant, so I would have to say the ZZ Raven. Where would you like to travel? Ooh. Okay, I don't like traveling. I don't. However, this is kind of like a bucket list thing. Y'all know that I love tennis, so on my bucket list is to go to every single Grand Slam. So that's US Open, that one's easy because that's New York. The Australian Open, Roland Garros in France, and Wimbledon in the UK. At one point in my life, I need to see all 4. When are we hanging out? Okay, and this picture is my best Judy, Alan. Gotta love Alan. He is one of my closest friends here in Toronto. And in the middle is like a stranger. I don't know who that is, but she is not invited. I'm kidding. That's my other girlfriend, Marianne. She moved away, so I haven't seen her in like 8 months. It's kind of up to you, girl. You're the one who's always flying like every other day for work, so let me know. If you're curious about these plants and the foliage, these are all propagations from mother plants that I still currently have, and I showed them in Wednesday's Hoya video, so if you want a closer look at the foliage, you can look there. What happened to your LECA pole experiment? Okay, if y'all are new here, I put a LECA moss, I just broke a tendril. I put a LECA moss pole on my Philodendron strawberry shake. The issue was the LECA kept going out of the moss pole like every time I tried to wet it, and it was because the holes in the moss pole were too big. The LECA that I was using was smaller, so I gave that up. I just put moss in it. Do I want to try it again? I'm gonna have to find a better way. I don't know if I can do it with these D-shaped moss poles. Oh. I don't know, this foliage, again, I said this in the video, but like it's my favorite kind of foliage. I don't know if it's blown out. I have a ring light. I don't know if it's like too bright. Underrated Hoya. That's tough. I honestly think there's so many underrated Hoyas. I could like go on and on. Should I make a video about this? I don't know. I kind of feel like the Hoya Cutis porcellana is underrated. It's not necessarily hard to find. I don't know. It's just kind of like, for me, an all-rounder when it comes to Hoyas. Foliage might look plain, but when you get it under highlight, they sun stress beautifully. Like the leaves turn like this reddish color, and then you could see like the light green veining underneath. Rate of growth, for me, it's been fast. And the blooms, porcelain. They're so cute. And also the scent. The scent is so pleasant. It's not overpowering, and it's sweet. Like, it is a true, the fungus gnat, I killed it. It is a true all-rounder when it comes to like Hoyas, and like no one really talks about it. And I don't know, maybe I'm obviously biased because I'm like, I have it and it's grown so well for me, but like I would say that one. Boyfriend reveal, just kidding. Cure tips for juvenile melanochrysum. So the biggest tip that I would give you about the juvenile Philodendron melanochrysum is don't buy it. Why would you buy it? Here's the thing, it's hard for me to give advice with that because, like, future Kevin, if you have pictures, like the biggest I ever got my juvenile melanochrysum was like this, and I was just kind of over it. That is the one plant I always say, buy it big, or buy it at least medium size, because honestly, it is a pain. Even if you like have a moss pool, even if you like keep the leaves like moist while they're coming out, it's just so finicky, and like that's just based on my experience having it. What was the reaction of the sun stressed person? Okay, I need to explain this a little bit. When I was at work, this patient, he was lighter in complexion and he had a sunburn. And so I was just trying to make conversation, and I was like, oh, how's your summer? Are you spending time outside? You look sun-stressed. He was like, what? Like a normal person who doesn't know what that term means. And thankfully, he was one of the patients that knew I had a plant thing, so like, after I explained it, he understood. But oh my gosh, I thought that was the funniest thing. We laughed about it after, so it was all cool. Are you Filipino too? I am. I was born and raised in Toronto. My parents didn't feel the need, not necessarily that. They didn't teach my sister and I Tagalog. They really wanted my sister and I to speak English really well. And so around my sister and I growing up, they didn't really speak it. We would ask what they're saying in Tagalog growing up, and they would just speak in English. So we never really had an opportunity to kind of absorb that growing up. They failed because my English is still very bad. How do you stay so organized when it comes to cataloging old pictures, videos of your plants? So I've actually done like a really poor job recently of doing that. But I don't know, I guess because I feel like my brain works differently than other people. I'll like think about, like for example, this is not a philodendron, my Anthurium metallicum, and I'm like, oh, May 2021. I know when I got it. Let's go into photos and go to that specific date, and I'll find a picture of that. My Hoya cutis porcellana, March or April of 2020. For Cadum decipens, I also got around that time. Also like moments that are significant, so like repotting it into LECA for the first time, repotting it into pond the first time, propagating a plant. They all kind of like stick in here. You know, obviously now there's a lot of footage when it comes to like plants because I'm like putting out a lot of videos, and it's the same thing. Like, I mean, some videos are specific to the plant, so like that's easy to find, and like in here, like I know like where to find it. I try to make folders. It's just hard, like, and I know it should be easy, but like for me, sometimes I just take a picture and it's in the gallery, and then like you take more pictures and they just kind of like get lost. I know it's easy to like title a folder, and then after taking a picture, like name the folder that, or like having an app. I'm pretty sure Fern has a like plant journal app, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if she uses it anymore, but that would be a good idea, and I really need to do that. Okay, this one's all done. Okay, let me pull the bin first. Ooh. Oh, okay. Standing was a little difficult. Ooh. Okay, Nova Ghosts. Nope. It's New Guinea Ghosts and Insulares in this bin. Oh, hold on. There's too many bins everywhere. Hoya Insulares. I'll take that sachet away. And then my new guinea ghost. If you only had to choose 10 plants from your collection, what would they be? 10? How generous. Monstera Type Constellation, Monstera Burly Mars Flame, a really good specimen of my Philodendron Strawberry Shake, Hoya Matilde Splash, Anthuriums are crossed with Michelle, Anthurium Forgetii, Anthurium Veitchii, Anthurium Magnificum crossed with Regal, Anthurium Magnificum crossed with Ace of Spades and Tazula Dark Form, and one more? I don't know. Anthurium Metallicum. That's my 10. I don't know if that was actually 10. What is your favorite Hoya these days? Okay, I'm getting distracted again. I need to start watering. I think it's gonna have to be the Matilde Splash right now. You know, it is the one Hoya. Drowned. It is the one Hoya that I look at every day. And do I need to look at it every day? Nope. But yeah, I'm so obsessed with it. I'm trying to think of like a second one. Yeah, I think it's gonna, I don't know what that face was. I think it's gonna be that one. Okay, sorry, I had to just focus. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back. Okay, let's move on to the strawberries. Now, the strawberries have become more manageable just because I got rid of the poor variegated ones. They still look really bad just because they're all in moss, and so nutrition-wise, they're not getting necessarily what they need. Tips for growing in pond. Obviously, my knowledge is limited when it comes to plants I've never grown in pond, and I've only tried the method where you transfer a plant from soil to pond by taking as much soil off the roots. However, in the instructions of Let's Use a Pond, you don't necessarily need to take off the soil. I propagate cutting straight into Let's Use a Pond, and that's more specific to Hoyas. And even I've done my Monstera Type Constellation quite a bit using that method. So I usually find that Anthuriums and Hoyas do really well in pond. I've dabbled with like Monsteras and Philodendrons in pond, and I have a few. Generally, something that people say a lot with pond is that you really have to keep on top of the flushing of the medium, and that's only because of the components in pond. They really, more than LECA and definitely more than soil, they hold on to everything. Everything meaning the good stuff, everything meaning the bad stuff, and everything meaning the water. I'm not a good example when it comes to that, but I have started flushing my velvet leaf anthuriums just because from time to time you do see minimal burning on the edges of like older growth. But just knowing the science of it, you should be flushing the pond more just to get rid of the salt, all the bad stuff. Try not to let your pond dry out. Pond's really good because like I said, it holds onto the water. So I find that it holds water better than LECA. And if you're starting out, I do believe that you should actually start out with a propagation in pond, not like transferring an entire plant into pond, because I feel like people are more unsuccessful with that method. Propagating in pond is actually a lot more easier. Obviously, the roots that do grow from like the cutting, they have already acclimated to the pond. And you know what? I hear mixed opinions about pond and like, do you need to keep a reservoir? Do you just need to like frequently water it if you don't have a reservoir? Like both methods, it works. I always like to keep a reservoir just because I always want my plants to have enough moisture. Wow, that was a whole, I don't know if I answered the question, but that's my answer. Which plant brings you the most joy at the moment? Ooh, that's hard. Oh, I think currently it's gonna have to be that Anthurium Magnificum crossed with Ace of Spades to Tazula Dark Form. I am shocked at how dark the foliage is. I really look at it every day, just like the Hoya Matilde. Just like so thankful and happy to see it. It's just so cute, and like just knowing the potential of like how big and dark the foliage is gonna look in the future. I don't know, I'm so excited for that. So even though she's a baby, she brings me the most joy right now. Best way to deal with mealybugs and thrips. Okay, I can't really speak about mealies. I've only had mealybugs once ever, knock on wood. Oh my god, there's no wood anywhere. Laminate's close to wood, I'm kidding, no it's not. Okay, I just threw out the entire plant. It was like, was it a marble pothos? I'm not sure, but I just threw it out. I know people use like alcohol dipped cotton swabs and they just like jab it. I feel like there's a better way. I don't know if that will completely like solve it. Y'all know that I love using beneficials. Like that is my go-to. I never like using like any like systemics or insecticidal soaps. I don't think people realize that by using these things repeatedly, you're kind of giving the opportunity for these bugs to build a resistance to it, and it's already happened. So I don't like using them. The last time I used it was just like a quick like insecticidal spray when it was like winter and I didn't want to buy bugs during the winter. I feel like there's like, it's like a black and brown type ladybug that eats mealies. You can try that. They look cute in my opinion. And for thrips, I strongly feel like you need to do beneficials if you have thrips. Thrips are the most tricky pests. I really want to do a video about this, but like it's like everyone has their opinion. Oris insidiosus. I've used that multiple times in the past and the thrips have disappeared and they're aggressive. I know from my friend Sam that he uses lacewings as well. So, and people also forget that thrips enter stages in life. Am I using the right words? There are some stages of thrips that live in the soil. So there's a bug, Future Kevin put it here, it's like Stratilid, I don't know, it goes by different names, but just having that colony in the soil can limit that. All my plants in soil, even though I don't have a lot, they have that bug in it. So yeah, I think beneficials are the way to go. And I, just my opinion, I honestly believe it's the best way to go. Talk about software you use, equipment, how to keep your clips picks organized. Okay, software. So if we're talking about video editing, I have switched to DaVinci Resolve. It is my favorite video editing program. I use Premiere Pro and hated it. It's good in a lot of ways. Obviously people that have been using it for years, which is like the majority of like video editors, they're used to it. Before I used Filmora Pro, I stopped using it because they just kind of stopped and like I was kind of forced to get a new program. So that's a software I use. When we're looking at equipment, my camera is the Sony ZV-1. It's good. I mean, I've been using this camera since I started my YouTube channel and it's still alive. The only two things, the battery is like not good. So I always have to plug it into like an external like battery or whatever, portable, and it overheats. And I think a family member who's like really into cameras, like he does say that like Sony as a brand, like they're notorious for just having equipment that overheats. So I use that. If we're talking about my mic, I use the, I don't know, it's a brand on Amazon. It's called it's Hoya. So I have the receiver attached to the camera and I have it right here. Y'all are probably familiar with it already. I do want a new one, but I only told myself that I would buy a new one once this one like goes kaput. It hasn't gone kaput and it's been like 4 or 5 years, so I'm still using it. How do you keep your clips and pics organized? I kind of answered this. For my video footage, I have folders of the planter video with the date. I'm not an organized person, everyone. I'm very messy. My boyfriend hates all the clutter and the mess, you know, around the apartment. And I am trying, and he just laughs about, like, for example, the storage in my laptop for like all these clips, they've really, like, it's almost full. And he always asks, like, why don't I just put it on like I have those external hard drives where it has like a lot of my older clips. He's like, why don't you just do that? I'm like, I can just like delete a clip now and like not worry about like plugging it in the laptop. It's just so dumb. Oh my God, where was I? Oh my gosh, I just like stopped doing plant stuff. If you have one, what is your all-time favorite plant in your collection and why? Of all time, it's the Thai constellation, Monstera Thai constellation. I'm just so interested with it. Obviously, my love of propagation has left me with a lot of Thai constellations. There's something about it. And I'm not talking about like Thai constellation, I'm talking about my Thai constellation that I have, which came from a very strong mother because I literally can ignore it for like 2 months and they're still fine. Even after watering a plant after 2 months of ignoring it and not watering it, you would think that the roots would rot, but they don't. I don't know if like the genes of this specific mother are just amazing because I have like, I used to have 6, but I currently have 4 that are in an aeroid mix. And the last time I watered it was like 2, pushing like 3 months ago, and they're fine. I've propagated this plant in pond. I have like 3 that are in pond. I have like 5 that are in sphagnum moss right now. My giant one is in LECA. Like, you can throw so much at this Thai constellation and it will survive. It will survive. Also just how big and beautiful it is. Like, oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, let me finish this bit and then I'll move on to another bit. Ooh. Oh, there's more strawberries in here actually. I feel like I can merge all of them. I'm gonna merge them. Okay, so these strawberry shakes in here, they're in perlite. I propagated them in perlite. There's a lonely gray ghost that hasn't pushed out growth. And yeah, it's a mystery because it's like the only one, oops, it's the only one that has like stayed this way. Some footage that was lost. I did propagate my Hoya Matilde. This isn't the big one I have. This is a small, obviously it's a smaller one, but it's doing well. Look at these tendrils. They're just growing. What do you do to reset if you have plant care burnout? This is such a good question. It's hard. It's hard because like you kind of need to first accept that you're having like plant burnout. And you can't like make yourself feel bad about it because that can be just like a cycle of just no return when you have like that thinking. And like trust and believe, like I was in one of those situations in winter, spring of this year. And that's why content kind of really just, you know, there wasn't a lot of videos around that time. So first accepting that that's the thing that's happening, not beating yourself up about it. And for me, if I'm in a mood where I'm burnt out when it comes to plant care, it's hard because like a lot of my plants can withstand like periods of drought. That sounds dramatic. It's not necessarily drought, but like, you know, if they have a reservoir present, it drying out, and like the question mark of like, will they survive kind of thing. I think a lot of my plants are capable of surviving that. Specifically, like look at all these plants are totally dry and they're still alive. But if there's like a plant that I know will die if like I do nothing with it, then just coming up with a small list of like short tasks that you can do with those plants. Because I feel like slowly you could get into the rhythm if you just kind of do like little things here or there, not really overwhelming yourself with like all of the plant care. Like for example, I'm kind of like overwhelmed and like kind of burnt out because I've been at the hospital for the past 3 weeks and I'm tired, but I'll just do the plant care while I do a Q&A. Like it all works out. I'm not answering the question, am I? If the root is like you've fallen out of love of like caring for plants, that's tough. I know this is kind of not solving the problem, but I think inadvertently it does solve the problem. Like you really just need to step away, because if you're kind of still in that whole plant burnout, you're still doing plant care, I feel like you're gonna have like a negative association to plants, which makes the matter worse. And if that's the case, just do something you love. Like I love baking. Do you see the pies that I made like a few weeks ago? I was kind of like getting to that stage where I was like, okay, like it's a lot, but I can't do the plant care and like have negative thoughts about it because it's just gonna be associated with the plants and I don't want it to be. So just separating yourself completely, doing something you enjoy. Like I baked. I also made a banana bread. I didn't take a picture though. I made pie, I made cupcakes, I made banana bread. That really just like, it fueled my happiness. And then when I was ready and in a better state of mind, that's when I re-entered like the plant care and I was okay. Obviously this is not gonna work all the time. I have definitely, and this happened recently, like I did get rid of a few plants. Like y'all saw that my Hoya Thompsonii I gave to a friend, even though she was like large and lush, I miss her, but like just decreasing the number of plants is also a method that I have used and it has worked for me if you're like overwhelmed by the number of plants. And I don't know, I feel like I didn't answer the question, I'm so sorry. But like I feel like the best thing is just to like separate yourself, take a step back. I don't know, that's what I do. I'm sorry if that didn't help. Ooh, oh my god, Koa. Okay, can y'all follow Koa also on YouTube? Currently right now, she's probably like one of my favorite people to watch. I just like love her vibes. Koa's Plant Corner, y'all. Anyways, she asks, what's your favorite thing to work out? Legs, upper body, glutes? That is hard. Okay, so if y'all didn't know, from February to May, I was working on bulking, building muscle, which happened. And I feel like I'm in like a good weight as well. I'm starting to like cut a little bit and I haven't worked out recently just because of work and like filming and editing content, whatever. I do want to get back into it probably like next month in September. It's gonna have to be like lower body, anything lower body. Like when I did lower body, I would do like the step ups. Are they called Bulgarian squat lunges? I don't know. The one that like you have to put one leg on the bench and then you do like lunge. Squats, like anything that will make my butt bigger and my thighs. Like those were my favorite because I was building muscle, you're burning more calories when you're doing those exercises, and I would do a lot. So you would need to fuel, and obviously to fuel, you need to eat more. And like when I did those exercises, like I gave myself permission to eat more because you need it if you want to build those muscles. And so yeah, what was the question? What was my favorite thing to work out? Yeah, I guess glutes. Ooh, but hammies. I would say just like anything lower body. So legs, glutes, hammies. And y'all, it's incredibly hard for me to do upper body. I don't know. My body just like doesn't hang on to muscle up here. I do want to say the exercise I hate the most, or the muscle that I hate working out, is back. The weakest part of my body is my back. Which sounds hilarious. It's my back and ankles. But any back exercise, like I am shocked how little weight, I'm doing for the exercise. I'm like, I'm doing so little and it hurts. Uh-oh, I lost where I was. Koa, where are you? Koa. What's the brand of self-watering pots that you use for your Anthurium? I'm pretty sure the brand is T4U for they're kind of like frosted. Is that the right word? They have like a texture. We have one, oh here, Magnificum. So these are the 8.5-inch pots. Most of my Anthuriums are in this pot. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. There should be a link in the description below. These ones I think are also T4U, but a different kind. They have the ability to take the net pot out and then just like this, y'all. Why change the old nutrient solution? What'll happen if we just keep topping it up? There have been moments, specifically my Brandy, because she's too tall, I had to like tie the net pot and the moss pole to the bucket. And so it's a pain like replacing the nutrient solution. So I just kind of wait longer, allow the nutrient solution to dry up, and then I just like pour over new nutrient solution. And I think I've been doing that for like 4 months at this point. Have I? 3, I don't know. She's having her own issues that are totally separate, I feel. It's just the question of the pH, potential salt buildup, because if there's still old existing nutrients, like what's the bacteria like? And that's why like you should be changing. Obviously I'm a bad example because it's been like 4 weeks. What's the like nutrient makeup? Are you overdoing it? What do the salts look like? Is it affecting the pH, which will affect absorption? Like there's a lot of things that can happen. If you had to escape a fire and could only take one plant, which one would it be? Oh my God. I feel like it's changed again. Because, okay, the way I answer this question is like, okay, what is a plant that is like kind of irreplaceable? So in the past, like I've always said like a Monstera Burly Marks Flame. I feel like you can get them now and it's not hard to find a Burly Marks Flame. So that was my old answer, but I feel like I want to change it. And so I would pick like a very unique plant, which would be my Anthurium Magnificum crossed with Ace of Spades Tazula Dark Form. That's a unique one because in the entire batch of seedlings that I got, none of them have foliage that dark. It's also the most vigorous, so it's just a strong. It came from good genetics, not only appearance-wise, but like vigor. Like those are kind of hard to find. I don't know if this is making sense, but it would be that one. A close second would be my Thai Constellation because I feel like the genetics are just like amazing. Okay, I merged all the strawberries into one bin. Yay, more room. I think I'm gonna move on to my Thai Constellations. Like the other plants, they have been ignored. Look at this also. Look at this Gigi. Look at the new leaf. Oh my gosh, okay. Y'all, this one was just so big. Oh my God, everyone's falling. Keep on falling in and out of love. With you, I never love someone the way that I love you. Sorry. Look at this top cutting. It's just too chaotic right now. I put the top cutting in pot. It is dry though. Ooh. Okay. What plants do you hate or will not purchase again? You know, A plant that was so frustrating to me that I like really don't know if I want to buy it again. It's the Philodendron Burly Marks Fantasy. I think at one point Not Dude had one, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I need one. And he grew it so well. Also Fern has one, and she just like acclimated it out of her Mills bow, and I was like, how come I suck at it? Yeah, I had a really hard time acclimating mine. It's a philodendron that I think people say it needs high humidity, and I bought a baby one. So I don't know if I'm in the right mental state to try that one again because it was very frustrating. Okay, I'm scared it's gonna fall. You're all dry, I'm sorry. It looks good though. Okay, yeah, real dry. Roots look okay though, they don't look bad. Boom, boom, boom. If you use a wick and LECA, is there a way to reduce the liquid uptake? Why? Like, is it too wet? I feel like you should always want a steady uptake, whether that's like submerging part of the LECA in the reservoir or having a wick, just because you never really want your LECA to dry out completely. Like that is like a no-no. Or maybe I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry. Do you feel more at ease with how your YouTuber career is going? Oh my God, deep question, everyone. You know, starting this full time, I have learned a bunch about myself. And, you know, when I quit in September, like my nursing job, my full-time nursing job, I had it all planned out. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. There are a lot of things that you can't control. It's a totally different world, like being a YouTuber, like creating content, spending hours and hours and hours making a video, and then that video doesn't perform well. And I'm not gonna lie, like that did happen in the past year, and it really like, I was in a really bad mindset where I just didn't want to like create videos. I feel like if we're talking about like now, the past couple months, I'm now, just now, even though it's almost been a year, like I am finding my footing when it comes to this. It's not easy. You need a lot of mental strength, I feel, if you want to, you know, do this on YouTube full time. If we're talking about happiness, and if I am happier, you know, not doing nursing and doing like YouTube full time, definitely. Like I still stand by it. It hasn't been a full year yet, so I'm gonna do that like in a month's time when it's been a full year. Like I'll put out a video where I talk about what this year has been like, but it's been the best decision just when it comes to my mental health. There's a fungus gnat. I'm trying to have a serious conversation. It's good. It was good for it's the best decision when it comes to mental health. Just in any new position, even if it's not YouTube related, there's an adjustment phase. And like a lot of my subscribers and followers have told me this, like it's an adjustment, like this whole year will be an adjustment. And also like I did learn a lot about myself. And so now knowing, you know, the stuff about myself that I didn't know before, it's getting easier now. Again, going back to the question, because I didn't even answer it properly, do you feel more at ease? In the past month or two, yes. From the moment I quit in September to like maybe May, hard no. I was very lost. I'll talk about that more in September when it's been a full year. I think it's only been like 10.5 months. Do you miss doing Patreon? For y'all that don't know, I paused my Patreon for a month from June to July. It's now active again. Again, this is like an example of just like finding my footing, doing things I enjoy, not necessarily pressuring myself to do like specific content. I don't want to say I regret starting my Patreon when I started it. I just think in February when I started my Patreon, I don't think I was in the right mindset to do that. And I mean, I didn't see it then. You know, obviously I'm very thankful for my patrons and like for sticking with me because like during that time, I just felt overwhelmed. I really did. But yeah, I did miss it when I was on pause because I felt like detached from my patrons. And that's why I kind of resumed it because I was like, okay, Kev, a month break is enough. Okay, I'm just gonna speed through the rest. I'm not gonna do any plant tours because I feel like this is taking longer than I anticipated. Tips for growing back a Syngonium from wet stick. I've done this in the past. It just takes a really long time. I've tried perlite prop boxes with this. I've tried sphagnum moss prop boxes and it's worked. I also have tried, you know, wet sticks in pond without root systems, and you know, they've survived. It's hard because when you don't have a leaf on a plant, and this goes with any type of plant, your plant can't generate energy to kind of sustain what's already there, as well as like pushing out new growth. Obviously, the leaf is a solar panel to pull in the sun to make food for the plant. And so when that's not there, it does take a really, really long time. You just have to be patient. I've done it with perlite prop boxes, wet sticks and pond, and sphagnum moss. Make sure you give it a lot of light and warmth and humidity. Wet sticks, it's hard for me to give advice because I do feel that I haven't mastered it. Like, I just kind of just throw them in a prop box and just wait to see what happens. I did have chunks recently. I think my most recent was chunks of my Philodendron McDowell, and a lot of them survived, and 2 of them are like full plants now, and they started out as chunks that were like this size. And I did a perlite prop box. I don't know if y'all remember that from like the winter time, but that was my strategy. You can also do that with Syngonium too. What is your most favorite Hoya of all the Hoyas? I said Mateel Splash, but of all time, it's gonna have to be Mateel Splash again. Would you ever get a pet? Oh, Koa again. Here's the thing, allergic to cats, allergic to dogs. But it's hard because I love animals. They're so cute. Like every animal. Like I have this weird obsession with birds. Like every time I see a reel of like a goose, an owl, owls are so amazing. And it could be chickens. I think chickens are cute. I don't know. Frogs are cute. I would love a frog. But I feel like I just have a lot going on with the plants. And Koa, I know you got some birdie friends that I'm obsessed with, by the way. Every time I watch your videos, I'm like, where are they? I always hear them, but tips to convert orchid from moss to LECA. I failed. Oh, I'm so sorry. See, I did it as a trial in October, and like thankfully I had, you know, success. It was hard because like you can't drown the roots because, you know, orchids are epiphytic, or Phalaenopsis specifically are epiphytic. So I made sure like the LECA was moist but not wet. I made sure the water level wasn't too high. And the one thing I did that I think helped a lot was I like put it under super high light, like under grow light for 14 hours. Phalaenopsis don't necessarily need this much light, but when you're rehabbing a plant, the plant obviously needs to make food and energy to push out new roots, for example. And so I had mine under a grow light from the time I transferred out of moss to LECA, and I really like kept an eye on them, monitoring what the foliage looks like. Sometimes it won't hydrate as fast. Mine were in really bad shape before. And so yeah, it's hard because like I did start that as an experiment like 9 months ago. It hasn't even been a full year now, so it's hard because I can talk about like my experiences, and I mean the 8 Phalaenopsis in my experience, because I did all of them at once, like they've all done well. I think it's the light. The light is the thing, and not submerging the existing root system in the water because they'll just rot. How do you prevent Monstera aurea leaves from getting brown spots? If you have any tips to share. This is the biggest mystery in the plant world. I'm kidding. I don't know the answer to this. I still experience it. I think we need to just realize as plant parents that variegation is a mutation, therefore it's not supposed to be there. And I know this is like with a lot of plants here. There's no chlorophyll in that part of the leaf, and so the plant needs to generate more energy to keep that plant alive. If it doesn't have enough energy when it comes to light nutrients, then that's the kind of the first spot it's gonna go, which is, you know, it presents as like the yellow parts melting or browning. People have said silica. I've never tried silica. I'm actually very scared to try silica, even though it helps with like the vigor and like the strength of just like the cells. I know it just really affects pH, and I don't think I'm ready to try it. People say silica. I haven't tried it, but that's what people say. It's a mystery if it's like high humidity that causes it. It's a mystery if it's low humidity. It's a mystery if it's high light as opposed to low light that causes this. But I mean, in my experience, if you grow your Aurea in high light and it has sectoral yellow and it's used to that amount of light, then it tends to not melt. It becomes an issue when like the lighting goes away. So I've seen this happen from summer to fall, like when I only have a plant against a south-facing window and like the hours of light disappear. I have seen that with my Oreo, but it's a mystery. It really is. I don't have a clear answer for you. And like my Oreos, they're more marble, so they don't necessarily melt or burn or have brown spots because the variegation is like marbled in the green. So I think that's why mine have been okay. Quick self-watering planter review. Here's the thing. All the ones I use, so the T4Us, the ones in LECA, I have so many because I don't care about appearance that much. Just as long as they do the job, I'm okay with it. So I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask when it comes to reviewing these things because if they do the job, I won't give a negative review. The only ones I've given a negative review on are these ones over here. But like I said, they do the job. The only thing is that sometimes the net pot doesn't fit snug with the cashpo. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can't, I'm sorry. I can't give like a good review because I'm like, the review would be like, it does the job. It's still here after 3 years and it hasn't broke. Ever thought about collecting alocasia? Okay, once upon a time. If y'all remember, I did have like a pretty like big alocasia collection, like my golden bone. I had my dragon scale. I had the silver dragon. At one point I had a Watsoniana. Okay, so it wasn't a big collection. I think it's because I had a lot of corms that I had a lot of just alocasias everywhere. I don't know. For me, the only alocasia that interests me currently is the golden bone still. I'm not gonna show it today because she's gone through a lot, but she's bouncing back and I'm really happy. She finally has like new leaves and yay. I might show that in my neglect video. How do you handle pests? Do you have much of it with so many plants? So a year ago, I had a huge spider mite infestation. I was kind of in between beneficials, like sachet beneficials. I just didn't buy more. And there was a period of 3 months where I didn't have preventive sachets on my plants, and that's when the spider mite infestation happened. After that, I learned my lesson just because in a small space, everyone's touching each other. I just use beneficial bugs. A year ago was the last time I had pests, like on a large scale. There have been some plants that I've put in isolation after I bought them, where I found thrips, where I found spider mites, but because they were isolated and I was treating separately to this collection, like I would keep the plants in a prop box in my living room. That solved the problem, as well as using like preventive sachets. I've used the cucumber one, I've used the California Kiss sachets, I've tried the Swarovski sachets as well, and I actually need to buy more, like this coming week or next week. Beneficials is the way to go. The only issue with beneficials is obviously ensuring you have the right conditions. It's hard because like they're different from one another. So some can tolerate lower humidity more than others. Some can tolerate lower temperatures than others. So yeah, you just have to do your research. How long each day do you spend doing plant chores? Each week, average time. PS, love your videos. Thank you so much. I was telling this to someone and they were shocked. Is it 10? It's hard because I'm filming too. And I'm like, does that count? Let's just go with 10 hours a week. I have no idea. I never really think about it until someone asks, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I've never thought about this before. Another question about selling. Also, do you have a Friday variegated yet? You need Let's Trade. Okay, yeah, I know. East Coast Tropicals. She has a beautiful Friday. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. And yeah, if I was going to like trade with anyone, it would be you for that. Currently now, the Friday isn't on my short list of like plants. Like if I see a plant that I absolutely love, like that I would get. So maybe sometime in the future if you still have it and if you're still open, I'm sorry. Do you ever have a plant that just hated you? It was never happy in your care. Philodendron, Burly Marks, Fantasy. So that one, I've never kept a peace lily alive. How do we feel about that? I should try it again. I've tried 3 different ones. You have any other things that fill your soul? I love baking. That fills my soul. Singing. I love singing. And you'll see that I'm singing more in my videos, but I have to like change the speed just for copyright issues. Singing, listening to music, and like it could be any music that I just like absolutely love. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for like 2000s R&B. Sometimes it's like Reba McEntire, George Strait, that specific type of country. Sometimes it's Heart, Queen, the Beatles. Like I know music is like therapeutic for a lot of people, but like music truly, like I need it in my life. It is like music fills my soul. Tennis, oh my God, watching tennis. The 3 big sports, I feel like This is a lot. 3 big sports, my favorite sports to watch. Tennis is number 1, and it's great that tennis is all year round. So watching tennis fills my soul. Curling, I know people think it's just boring and like, is this a sport? Y'all, curling is hard. Try to curl. You will be out of breath, you will be sore. And number 3, American football. The past 4 or 5 years, I've been in like a fantasy league with my friends. I've always come close to winning. I'm always second or third, but I've never won. My boyfriend won last year and I was so mad at him. But American football, what would you recommend for plants to grow strong and healthy? The biggest thing is light. I was talking to someone recently about this, and I don't want to be shady, but I feel like we forget the fundamentals of like growing plants. Again, plants are growing things, and like I get frustrated a lot of the time because I feel like people focus more on the appearance of plants and just having one present in their living room and just putting it in a dark corner. Your plants cannot survive without light, and good quality light. Like, this is like elementary school. We know that plants need light to make food. Yeah, sure, they need to be watered, but like you could be watering a plant, take away the light, and it'll die. I feel like people focus more on water, which is weird to me. It's like a partnership. And not only light and water, it's like more things, obviously, nutrients, root health. If you don't have light, that single thing, then your roots won't be healthy, which leads me to my next point. Like, you need a good root system for plants to grow strong and healthy. And so if you have proper light, it does lead to proper root health, root growth. Obviously, then looking at like substrate, is that substrate maintaining the root health? Is there enough aeration around the roots? That's why I like pot and LECA. It's like the fixed pockets of air. Oh, and you just don't need to worry about like overwatering. Like, that's not a thing. And then nutrients, because like obviously nutrients do play a part in obviously the structure of the plant, the health of the plant, then looking at that. Anyhow, I feel like I just like listed just a whole bunch of things. Do you ever place a plant in pond in a glass container and just fill water directly in there? Yeah. So, I mean, I've done that with like these Thai constellations. Ooh, you're dehydrated. So they're just in plastic deli containers, and I've just put water. And this is a bad example because she is dry, but yeah, I've done that and it works. The reason why I like doing like buying these self-watering pots is because I, as a person, like to see the indicator go up and down. It kind of helps me gauge like if it needs more water or not. And for me, I like it, but like a lot of people just do like glass containers and it's been fine. Some people have issues with the algae, which like I'm whatever about, but yeah, I've totally done that. How do you deal with large plants when they get so huge and you have no room? Yeah, propagate, get rid of it. Try pulling back on the nutrients so it doesn't grow as fast. It's hard because like my goal with every plant is for them to grow big and lush. And so it's hard living in a small condo. It's hard having all my plants in this corner of the bedroom. Like eventually I will have to either cut it all the way back or just get rid of the plant in its entirety. My Thai constellation, my big one, I know I keep saying I have to propagate it. I actually do need to propagate it because the newest leaf is small and it's like half the size of the previous. So that tells me I need to either propagate it or repot it. I'm gonna have to propagate it because it's like 10 gigantic leaves. There's just squish in the corner. This is funny. How are you always so positive? I feel like, I mean, if you're comparing, do you know what's weird? Okay, y'all didn't see it, but the 2 Thai constellations that I filled the reservoir, I think I'm a witch. Like, they've been standing on their own for so long, and then I look at one and I was like, I think that one's gonna fall. And I just like kind of looked at it, and then I continued to answer the question, and then it fell. I'm a witch. I feel like on average, I am more optimistic as a person. I feel like you need that to survive in this world, but I have my moments. I really do. Most of the times when I'm in like a really bad mood, I don't choose to film, so that's why y'all haven't seen it. Like, you guys only really see the happy part, but trust and believe, like my boyfriend has seen the whole spectrum of emotions for me. I have some of my full sun plants in the back and some of the leaves are turning yellow. Yellowing leaves are tough because yellow leaves can mean that the root system is, you know, taking a hit somehow. Like, is the root system rotten? What are your watering habits like? If they are true full sun plants and it's summertime, there's a chance, and I have seen this, where you move a plant from indoors, like your living room, and then you move it outside, and because the plant isn't used to that, they burn. That can be the case as well. There's also a question, are they truly full sun plants? Because if not, and you're subjecting it to full sun, that can be the case. Also pests, that can also result in yellowing leaves. Like, there are a lot of things to look at, but those are the things I would look at first. Do you find that syngoniums tend to lose its color on older leaves? Yes, I do. I think that's normal. Again, plants will always like favor new growth. Plants will always try their best to channel nutrients into the newer growth. And so just knowing that there are a lot of mobile nutrients that exist, and knowing a plant, if it can't get it from the plant's roots, it can pull from older growth. That's a reason why. And that's not only with syngoniums, it's the same with like a lot of other plants. Also, sometimes if you have your plant in like even like bright indirect light, like that leaf has now been subjected to high light for a long time when you're comparing like the age of certain leaves, so that can be a reason as well. For water props, even when I catch a rot, cut it off, spray hydrogen peroxide, change the water, the root comes back. You know, I would look at other things like how clean your vessels are. It's something that people don't really talk about, but like if this has like a ton of bacterial growth and you don't clean it properly, sometimes that's the source of the rot. Changing the water more frequently will minimize the bacteria. If you already had existing rot on a plant, making sure you get rid of it completely. So when you cut the stem, do you see rot in the center where in the cross section where you cut? Like, you really got to cut your plant all the way back to eliminate it. And the lighting, make sure there's a ton of light. That's something people forget. Lots of light. What are some plants that you used to have and would want to get again? I've said this before, Philodendron Pink Princess. Do y'all remember when I had mine and she was like so beautiful and I was just like, damn, look at the pink. That one, Epipremnum Penatum Skeleton Key, it's one I would want again. And okay, y'all, there are a few more questions, but I have 1 minute left on my memory card. I don't know where my other memory card is, so I'm gonna have to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you for making it to the end. If y'all made it to the end, what's like on the top of your wish list when it comes to plants? I would like to know. I have too many. For me, it's that serpens, the silver serpens. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.